Catherine Scorsese, daughter of Hollywood director Martin Scorsese, pleaded for $30,000 in donations from the public for her pets after her $1.2 million Brooklyn apartment was flooded. Catherine Scorsese bought her one-bedroom loft duplex in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, in 2007 for $800,000 and now it is worth $1.2 million. But due to water damage, the place is being repaired. That left the 53-year-old New Yorker with no place to put her numerous pets, according to the Daily Mail. The daughter of the Goodfellas director, who is worth over $100 million, has 8 cats and several dogs, according to reports. According to a GoFundMe page, the woman's half-sister, Tanya, started the fundraiser to drum up the $30,000 Scorsese says she needs to care for her pets during the renovation. But while she has raised over $6,000, some are criticizing her for begging for money from the public when her family is so incredibly wealthy. Catherine insists that she makes her own way through life and does not rely on her father's huge wealth. When Daily Mail contacted Scorsese, a representative slammed those criticizing the woman, saying that the page was not started by her but by her sister and is such a sweet, generous offer. She's not begging for money, and she is not a trust fund baby either, the source said of Catherine. According to the Internet Movie Database, Catherine Scorsese has credits mostly as a member of the art department for various film projects, such as HBO's Boardwalk Empire and The Sopranos. While Tanya is listed as the originator of the fundraising page, Catherine joined in on the effort by not only approving of it but by supplying photographs of some of her many pets to bolster interest among donors. The donation campaign has since ended. When pressed on why she doesn't ask her father to satisfy the dire need for the animals, the source replied, "She does not ask her dad for things, she's not that girl. They are not that family." The apartment was reportedly damaged by a sewer backing up and is being partially gutted to fix the problem. Catherine Scorsese is currently living in a rental apartment during the repair that is being paid for by the insurance company handling the damage claim. But the rental-let is not big enough for all the pets, the source told the Mail. Former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld, who is trying to primary President Donald Trump, this week accused Trump of preferring America to be an Aryan nation. "I celebrate that America has always been a melting pot," Weld reportedly said this week at an Edward M. Kennedy Institute for the United States Senate event on the 2020 election. It seems he would prefer an Aryan nation. When ABC asked Weld on Thursday what he meant by Aryan nation, Weld reportedly said that he thinks Trump would prefer a nation with no immigrants. "I know that sounds strong and tough, but he's very interested in bloodlines and it has resonance," Weld continued. Weld went further with his Aryan nation remarks than most Democrats have to date, and his campaign strategy may explain his rhetoric. Despite barely registering in the polls, Weld admitted to C-SPAN in an interview that aired on Friday that he will be focusing on anti-Trump Democrats in the 20 states that permit crossover voting to try to defeat Trump in 2020. "It's not just Vermont, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts, it's 17 other states," Weld reportedly said. "And a lot of those states permit even a Democrat to take a Republican ballot, and I've heard from Democrats that they're going to come and vote in the Republican primary for one day so that they can vote for me against Mr. Trump. And then they're going to go home and take a hot shower because they feel so unclean. But those are votes as well," FISA court. Graham said he wished one Democrat would get behind getting more information because every American should want to know. "I want all the documents around the FISA warrant application released. I want to find out exactly how the counterintelligence operation began," Graham told Fox News Channel's Chris Wallace. "I think transparency is good for the American people. Not one Democrat seems to care. I wish some Democrat would come forward to find out if the FISA court was defrauded by the FBI and the Department of Justice," he continued. Graham later added, "We're not compromising national security here. We're trying to create a system to make sure this never happens again by shedding light on what happened with the FISA warrant process, the counterintelligence investigation. Did they have a lawful reason to surveil President Trump's campaign? Did they lie to the FISA court? Every American should want to find that out." Sunday on NBC's Meet the Press, host Chuck Todd challenged White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders over President Donald Trump's tweet about North Korea dictator Kim Jong-un. Trump tweeted, "North Korea fired off some small weapons, which disturbed some of my people, and others, but not me. I have confidence that Chairman Kim will keep his promise to me," and also smiled when he called Swampman Joe Biden a low IQ individual, and worse. "Perhaps that's sending me a signal? Todd said, "Can you explain why Americans should not be concerned the President of the United States is essentially siding with a murderous authoritarian dictator over a former Vice President of the United States?" Sanders replied, "The President's not siding with that. I think they agree in their assessment of former Vice President Joe Biden. The President's focus in this process is the relationship he has and making sure we continue on the path towards denuclearization." Todd pressed, "The President of the United States takes the North Korean dictator's word about Joe Biden? What happened to speaking with one voice on American foreign policy? Is the President not setting up trying to have world leaders sort of pick which political party they should side with? I don't understand what message the President is sending here." Sanders said, "The President doesn't need somebody else to give him an assessment of Joe Biden. He's given his own assessment a number of times. I think you have seen it. I'm sure you have covered it on your program. The President watched him, and his administration with President Obama fail for 8 years. He has come in 2.5 years and cleaned up a lot of the messes left behind. We shouldn't be in the position we're in to have to deal with North Korea at the level we are if they had done their job." Sunday on ABC's This Week, Representative Liz Cheney, our way, said negative statements by former FBI officials Peter Strzok and Lisa Page while investigating President Donald Trump sounded a whole lot like a coup and added that it could even be treason. Cheney said, "What is crucially important to remember here is that you had Strzok and Page who were in charge of launching this investigation and they were saying things like we must stop this president. We need an insurance policy against this president. That in my view when you have people that are in the highest echelons of the law enforcement of this nation saying things like that sounds an awful lot like a coup, and it could well be treason. And I think that we need to know more. What was Jim Comey's role in all this? These people reported to him. Andy McCabe reported to him. What was Comey's role in that? And that is what the Attorney General is going to be focused on." She added, "Think about the fact that we had people that are at the highest levels of our law enforcement in this nation saying that they were going to stop a duly elected President of the United States, saying they need an insurance policy against him. That is something that simply cannot happen. We have to have confidence in our law enforcement, and the Attorney General has got to get to the bottom of what happened, how it was that those people were allowed to misuse and abuse their power that way." Sunday on NBC's Meet the Press, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said the Trump administration already knows that there was a high level of corruption at the FBI. Sanders said, "We already know that there was an outrageous amount of corruption that took place at the FBI. They leaked information. They lied. They were specifically working trying to take down the president, trying to hurt the president. We'll leave the final call up to the Attorney General, and he'll get to the bottom of it. But we think Americans deserve the truth. The president's asked for that. And we should expect nothing less." She added, "That is the reason that he's granted the Attorney General the authority to declassify that information, to look at all the documents necessary so that we can get to the very bottom of what happened. Once again, we already know about some wrongdoing. The president's not wrong in that. But he wants to know everything that happened and how far and how wide it went.